You're listening to 5 Things with Lisa Birnbach.
Hi, it's Lisa Birnbach, and welcome to the podcast. Every week, I try to come up with 5 things, just 5, that made the week better for me. Sometimes 5 is hard. You'd be surprised. In this kind of weird time that we live in, it is not always easy to focus inward and pull out 5 things that helped or made you laugh or made you grateful. That's what I do. And today I'm doing it with a guest, the writer Alexandra Styron. If you know her, you know that she has an incredibly rich and diverse background and career as a writer, as an activist, as a memoirist, as a faculty member in a graduate program at Hunter in writing. And she has a great list for us, too, so she is coming up. But now I want to start with mine, and I've done something different this week. I always say these are the 5 things that made my week better. I decided somewhere earlier this week to talk about the 5 things in my life that people seem to admire the most. Because what is a compliment but a way to feel good? And how do you feel good? When people tell you, oh, I like your coat, I like your boots, So these are, in no particular order, the 5 things I have that people seem to like. Unfortunately, this does not include my exhibits. People don't seem to want to borrow them or have them for any length of time. But they do like, number 1, my leather jacket. And you can see a picture of me in my leather jacket on my blog, lisabirnbach.com. This leather jacket is going on 15 years old, so it's vintage, it's antique, it's special. It was designed by an old dear friend of mine named Charles Nolan. He was at one time the head designer for Anne Klein, and then he was able to get his own line, and he launched it in 2004, and I saw the leather jacket, my famous leather jacket, hanging on a rack at Saks, and I just had to buy it. Now, I have to say, it's no ordinary leather jacket. Number 1, as you will see, it's perfect. Number 2, as you will see, it has very long cuffs, which flare out in a very arresting way. They help make it perfect. The leather, as you will see, is pebbled. I have gone places or walked down the street and people have said, where can I get that jacket? Where can I get that jacket? Unfortunately, you can't get that jacket unless I were to give it to you, which I'm not going to do because it is my favorite garment that I own. I have almost lost it in a rental car, and someone, and this is true, and some of my friends hearing this will remember this vividly, someone tried to take it after a memorial service. That seems kind of wrong, doesn't it? But we got it back. It was a group effort. We got it back. This jacket is perfect. So I understand why people admire it. I would also like to pay respect to my friend Charles, who died in 2011. He was a very talented man, a very kind person, also unheralded, spent a lot of time doing community service and political stuff and did not get probably the fame he deserved, and I enjoy wearing his clothes, especially the leather jacket that I will probably wear forever. Number 2, I have a wacky pair of socks. I actually have them on now that are, I guess, turquoise with orange and yellow peaches woven into them. My friend Debbie Lewin gave them to me after we went to see Call Me By Your Name. Get it? Peaches? Get it? I'm not going to explain it if you didn't see the movie. Anyway, since I usually wear black socks, plain, or gray socks, plain, or navy socks, plain, these are very cheerful. People like them. When I say people, I mean the people at the gym who see them. Very few people actually get to see my socks. It's kind of by invitation only. Number 3, the glasses I have now perched on my nose. Now, here's the thing. I am legally blind, according to all authorities. I can barely see anything. I used to squint as a child, which is how my mother figured out I couldn't see. I used to think trees had big green blobs on them. I didn't realize that there were individual leaves with individual veins and arteries. I mean, I couldn't see. Now I can see. And the minute I could see, my life changed. But I kept thinking my eyes are going to get worse and worse and worse until I get blind, which is ironic since I'm practically blind anyway. My vision has gotten worse, and now I get to wear reading glasses over my contact lenses. I think in a few years I'll be wearing a miner's cap with a flashlight over it too. This aging thing is not very attractive. But what I did was I got my reading glasses tinted blue. A brilliant idea. If I could copyright this idea, I would. Anyway, people seem to like the glasses too. You know, when I say these are the 5 things that people like the most, maybe people are just sucking up. Maybe nobody likes my jacket. Well, they do like my jacket. You have to like the jacket. And what does it take to give somebody a compliment anyway? Oh, I like your glasses. I may be blowing smoke up my own hoo-ha, but anyway. Number 4, I'm wearing my dad's watch. And again, there are pictures on the blog for you to admire my dad's watch, my glasses, my jacket, my socks. My dad's watch I received after he died in 2011. He gave each one of his children, my brothers and me, a wristwatch. I don't know how he decided which kid got which watch, say that fast, but I had always admired the one that I now have. I don't wear it every day. It's too special to me. It's too precious to wear, to work out or to do errands or to make meatloaf. But it's beautiful, and when I wear it, I definitely think of him. And P.S., I think about him even when I'm not wearing his watch. I don't need his watch to think about him. I don't need his watch to miss him. I miss him every day. Number 5, I found a picture of a man called Robert Mueller and his wristwatch, because I was curious, what would a fine, upstanding citizen such as Robert Mueller wear around his wrist? And he wears a Casio, or at least he did in the picture I have of him that I've put on the blog at lisabirnbach.com. That watch tells me he's no nonsense. He probably needs to time something like his running, and that he's just a straightforward person. So I like the man. I like his watch. I would never personally wear a Casio watch, not because I don't like Casio. I am afraid if I wore a digital watch, I would forget how to tell time. Okay? That is the most bald and honest confession I've ever made on this show. But now, that's enough about me. My guest today is writer, memoirist, teacher, wife, mother, daughter, sister, with a very powerful and potent sisterhood in her life, author of Reading My Father and Steal This Country, an activist, Alexandra Styron, known to her friends as Al. Welcome, Al.
Thank you, Lisa.
You can call me Al.
Exactly.
And I wanted to talk to you because you have written and published this fall a new book for younger readers, but it's not talking down to people our age or my age, called Steal This Country. And it's such a departure from your previous work. How did you end up writing a kind of handbook for junior activists?
So it is a total departure for me, and was a very new experience. But it was a big surprise, my response to the Trump election. It was my way of digging myself out of the despairing hole that I had fallen into, like many of us. And I was working on some fiction and teaching, and but feeling really unmoored. And I think for me, I'm the mother of 2 teenagers, and this is a book for teenagers, but the most sort of profound moment for me was that morning after, was coming downstairs and facing my children and feeling very, very clearly like we had let them down. We had let that generation down, that they couldn't be held accountable for the fact that Donald Trump was now president, but we really could. And so writing this book was kind of my way of atoning in some way and doing something. I felt like I had to do something, so I put my fiction aside. I had this idea. I came up with it. I sold it very quickly. I wrote it very quickly, and here it is.
What's really refreshing about it, I mean, that's why this podcast exists, too, trying to lift myself and others out of this sort of vague, bad feeling that we have. But I like how specific it is and how you've broken up chapters into small, doable actions. Because I think the general first reaction is, I'm overwhelmed. There's too much to do. I don't know how to start.
Yeah.
And I admire the way you cut it up into bite-sized pizzas.
Yeah.
The pizza's very good.
If I could have added pizza, teenagers might like it even more.
Exactly.
I think that was really important, was breaking it up into doable doses, but also making kids really understand that they not only are welcome and can engage in the resistance resistance process and in social activism, but they're actually necessary, and that there is a great long history. In fact, no major movements, certainly not in this country, and many in other countries, really have ever gotten anywhere without the involvement of young people. And by young, I mean teenagers.
You mean people who are too young to vote?
Too young to vote, but not too young to know that what's going on is, fucked up.
When we were growing up, reading the newspaper was a vital part, and we'll get to this in a few moments, but reading the daily newspaper, in my case, the New York Times, and I guess in yours too, was a part of being an adult. It was part of taking responsibility. Yeah. It was kind of cool to read it before my parents did. Yeah. And I grew up with that. Mm-hmm. Children today are digital natives, and they don't have that expectation that they are going to read a lot of stories. They're going to get pre-selected stories out of the particular echo chamber that they use.
Well, to be fair, the New York Times is an echo chamber.
Yes,
as well.
It is. It is, for sure. But now you can cherry pick your news and cherry pick where you're getting it. Yeah. What are other ways in which teenagers of today differ in terms of their understanding of what's going on in politics, and also the sense that it does matter? Because it's very easy to feel like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, I think as much as I, again, as the mother of teenagers, sometimes I feel like the scourge of our existence is social media and their phones, and my trying to shove a book between my son's phone and his eyeballs. But in truth, they are actually also, the good news is they're getting a ton of information. I grew up in rural Connecticut, and yes, we had the New York Times, and yes, my parents read that paper every morning, and I learned how to read sitting on my father's lap reading the New York Times. But other than that, and, Walter Cronkite was all we had. Mm-hmm. And so I actually, I think there's a great opportunity. Harnessing social media and harnessing the digital environment to give kids information is actually very valuable. They also can connect with each other on social media, which is something I'm also promoting as a kind of extension of this book I've written. I'm very eager to find a path for creating one digital platform where young activists can meet, because they're they're out there and they're working and they're really passionate and they are doing great stuff, and they're often largely siloed into their particular issue, the LGBTQ kids and climate change
And the Parkland kids.
Parkland kids and racial kids who are working on racial justice, but they don't see each other so often. And I've done some events where I've asked young activists to come from different organizations, and they're so excited to be together. It's like, oh, you're so cool. You're doing what I'm doing, but in a different field. And so I do think social media gives them that tremendous opportunity that doesn't exist in an analog world.
And it gives them a connection also to people in other parts of the world and the country.
Yes.
What about the negativity that is so prevalent these days? It's very often a reaction against, or I'm opposed to this, as opposed to for something.
Yeah. I mean, I think the most distressing, one of the really dark, obviously, as we know, dark sides of social media, and the really negative side is the heat that kids take and the bullying that they are, the way people pile on when anyone comes out and puts themselves out there in any way politically, or puts himself on the line for social justice. And it's hard enough for grown-ups to take that, much less kids. But I don't know. I got to say, I think this next generation is so incredibly great. They are, when I am, I don't mean to be Pollyanna-ish, but, I really, when you look at where these kids are heading, I feel like a lot of our social ills will start to resolve themselves. They'll always be there, but I feel like the trajectory is positive, not negative, because these kids are just so much cooler than we were, first of all, this is the first majority-minority generation. They will be more different, they will be more of color than they will be white. They are much more engaged in climate issues. They're queerer than any generation before them. Only 48% of the nation's teenagers now identify as strictly heterosexual.
Is that right?
Yeah. So when you kind of put all those things together, you think, not what could go wrong, but but things could,
things could change.
Things could change. So I'm feeling rather hopeful.
Good. Well, I find the Parkland kids, who are the ones I'm most familiar with,
Sure.
to be so articulate, so passionate, and make us better as adults, because we really need to be accountable to them. How did we let this happen? This wasn't on you. This was on us. And I think as a parent of 3, I also I've spent a presidential election in Pennsylvania, being an out-of-state canvasser, and feeling very apologetic the day after to my children. I made you care, and now it hurts. But if you don't care, you never will care. And it does seem the silver lining, I suppose, in all of this is that people are paying attention in a way they never have.
Absolutely. God knows, I wish we could turn the clock back and we weren't in this situation. But the response has been magnificent from women, from men, from people of all color, and from young people. And they're totally fired up. It ebbs and flows, and I do worry that the real lesson is that we all need to remember, and certainly need to impress upon our kids, is that it's, a marathon, not a sprint. And that, I know it's dispiriting to, feel like, I'm sure for, the Parkland kids have learned it, in spades, this kind of, to have everybody's attention and have the world behind you and be asking for something that seems so obvious with regard to gun control, and to not get it. but to know that what they've done so far is not in vain, and that you have to get up tomorrow and put your shoes back on and go back out there, and that you just have to. I mean, look at the civil rights movement. It takes a long time. And that message, I think, is hard for kids. Kids are impatient. They're young. They don't have a sense of time.
Right.
But that's a really important message to kind of convey to them, that to make it part of their daily existence, like brushing your teeth, is how they will make change.
And they will. And we're all learning from them. I saw on some social media today that a novelist I admire, quite a bit older than I am, so this is not an age, you have to be young to do this, is now writing postcards to Nancy Pelosi and now sending postcards.
Right.
I just got in the mail my return letter to Steve Bannon.
Oh, really?
It wasn't
opened?
No, he didn't read my letter.
Really?
It took only 2 years to get it back, but I got it back. I sent it to him at the White House.
That is really funny.
Yeah,
Well, you
I should frame it.
You should, or put some more stamps on it and try again.
Try to find him somewhere.
Yeah,
I guess in the Ukraine.
In his hole. Yeah.
Well, let's go to your 5 things. I loved your list, and it just was beautifully curated, if I could put it that way.
I'm so glad.
So your first thing that makes your week better or your life better is
Seltzer.
Seltzer.
I'm obsessed with seltzer, yeah. It's really weird.
It's not weird. I know people who love seltzer.
Yeah.
Maybe you love it more than they do.
Maybe.
I don't know. I haven't.
I don't know. I realized, so I grew up, in sort of country Connecticut, and seltzer was not. Seltzer's got kind of a Jewish history, right?
Well, calling it seltzer
yeah.
already makes you a little
I don't know.
Jewish.
Seltzer's it's like
It's
a New
club
York
soda.
Jewish thing. Well, but club soda has sodium in it, so they're
Seltzer doesn't have
yeah,
sodium?
no, they're actually. This is Lisa. Come on,
The more you know.
you're offending me.
I'm so sorry.
Let me instruct you.
I'm in shame. Look at me hanging my head here.
Seltzer is just carbonated water. I didn't grow up with seltzer at all, and I don't think I drank much water growing up.
We didn't drink
Who
water.
drank water?
Oh my God,
And
that
I
was
grew
a
up in
punishment.
this old farmhouse with baseboard heating. My hair would my hair crackled. My skin, I think I was just dehydrated my entire
Were
childhood.
you Amish?
No, but it kind of felt that way.
Yeah.
And then I came to New York for college, and I discovered seltzer.
Well, you went to Barnard.
I went to Barnard. You got to drink seltzer.
You got to drink some seltzer.
So yeah, and then I became kind of just devoted to it. I just think soda's gross, but seltzer is like this elixir. And then they invented these soda machines, and I got one. It's one of the first seltzer machines. And so I don't make so much waste anymore. That was always upsetting to me, killing all those seltzer
all the bottles.
Yeah. But so now we've got these 4 plastic bottles in our fridge, and if you can only drink so much coffee. I got to wait till 6 o'clock to have a glass of wine. Seltzer is, divine.
Wow. Now, does your whole family share the seltzer?
Yes.
So each bottle is for each person?
Yeah. Well, no, it's like you're always saying, make more seltzer. You finished the last bottle.
I can't believe I didn't know that about seltzer. I am kind of ashamed.
Well, club soda and sodium make you more thirsty.
That's why soda's bad for you, is because of the sodium or the sugar.
Among other things.
Or the cancer,
Yeah.
whichever. Whatever. So seltzer is your elixir. It keeps you going.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
And you don't get obviously a rush because there's no caffeine, no
but
sugar,
it's more refreshing than, I don't know, plain water doesn't just do it for me. Seltzer is I don't know what it is about the bubbles, but
Can I just say,
Yeah.
you said we didn't drink water when we were growing up.
Yeah.
Water was punishment.
Right.
No one's parents made us drink water.
No, and you didn't drink water. It was there was orange juice at breakfast.
There was orange juice, and then there was apple juice.
And there was apple juice, and there was milk.
And Welchade.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. I
Yes.
love grape juice. And
Grape
Hawaiian
juice.
punch.
And Hawaiian punch, yes.
Yeah.
Delicious Hawaiian punch.
Delicious.
And then occasionally the, Coke or Orange Crush.
Very occasionally
Yeah.
as a treat.
Yeah.
In our house, it was ginger ale.
Oh,
more
yeah, I
than-
love ginger ale.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you're homesick.
Yeah, when you're homesick and
Yeah.
it's suddenly medical.
Right. I need another. Can I have another little bottle of Canada Dry?
Okay, so, but
Yes.
it's true that no one drank water in the
No,
60s and
no,
70s.
no.
We're just going to say it.
So parched. I was just parched for like 17 years.
That's why I'm so dry now.
Yeah, right.
I mean,
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you got to go get your seltzer. I'm going to get you a seltzer machine.
Okay, I'll accept it.
Okay.
Thank you. And also, our mothers smoked when they were pregnant with us.
Right. My mother didn't, but everybody else did. Yes. Right.
And whatever
Yeah,
else they
whatever.
did.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing on your list, I feel like a fake New Yorker because I don't drink seltzer and I don't do.
Okay. But this is
Tui Na.
this is kind of a secret.
Okay.
Okay. So Tui Na, I'm just giving it its official name, but really what I'm talking about is those little holes in the wall Chinese massage places
They
all
are
over New York.
Basically basements, right? Mostly
Yeah, I mean,
basements.
how many times have you walked by one of those and you don't even look because you're like, weird, ew, I don't know what's going on
Right.
in there, right? I
Right.
don't know. Trying to
Is it
massage my
clean?
feet.
It's in the basement.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Right. And it's some tiny little doorway. You know.
It looks dodgy.
Totally dodgy. And actually, the truth is some of them are dodgy. So that's actually, I should just, as a kind of flag, say that some of them are. But most of them aren't. And in fact, what's behind that door is a magical universe of like the best, most inexpensive massage you will ever get.
Are they mostly reflexology for
No,
the feet?
no. Oh, no. They have like bars on the ceiling where these women who are the strongest people ever,
They walk on you?
they walk on you, but they don't just walk on you. They also apply their like hands that are the strongest, most extraordinary healing hands. And they, I don't know, they like look at you and they can see that you've got like a huge knot in your right shoulder or down by your hip, and then they just really honestly beat the crap out of you. Like sometimes I think there's childbirth and then and there's Tui Na.
But you choose the Tui Na.
I do. Well, I chose to have two babies too.
Do you take any?
But, yeah,
you
but I'm
take any
paying for it.
You're paying for it.
Yeah.
Do you take any? Do you get a?
I should take Advil
shot?
before I go. I should
Yeah.
have like a big, various kinds of shots.
Right.
A drink shot. No, I try to go and I try to breathe through the pain. But I mean, I think it's like what people say Rolfing is like. It's exquisitely painful, but it's so frigging good.
I'm going to go to your Tui Na
Okay,
because
I
I'm
think
scared that my Tui Na
yeah.
might be a
Okay, so-
do.
Well, I think people the other day I was in there and I heard a guy come in and say $50, and she was like, yeah, $50, and he goes, here, and I could tell he was trying to pay her before, and I was like, oh no, this isn't going to go well.
Oh, did he think he was?
Yeah.
Oh,
And then he was like, they're just curtains between. I mean,
Right.
they're really low. Like if you're skeeved out by, I mean, it's not dirty, but they're very basic.
Right.
And they're like curtains between the tables. And so he went in, and then I heard her go, oh no. Oh no, just back.
Oh,
and he
how
was
funny.
like, and he grumbled and got dressed and left. So there's that, but that's not what's happening in there. And it is really just these women who are really well trained, and they're really strong, and they're really good, and it's inexpensive, and you don't have to make an appointment, and there's no like cucumber water and robes. I mean,
Right.
it's not fancy.
No Enya.
No Enya.
And you're not there.
And you're not there.
No Enya today.
Paper on the table, couldn't be more basic. But totally, like if you've had a bad day and you're on your way home and you're going to go home and make dinner, but you've got 45 minutes and $45, like it's awesome.
Wow. I went to a place, it seems to me that when I look down a street in New York and I look into the sort of basement area, it's all Qigong. Don't they use? Isn't that also a Chinese
Probably,
form
yeah.
of?
I'm just calling it tui na because that is a kind of Chinese massage, and a lot of the places have those signs outside. So I think that's sort of one of the massage philosophies that's applied.
Well,
but I don't know anything about Chinese. I can only just tell you.
You can tell me about salsa.
I can tell you about salsa, and I can tell you can go into these places and get, the crap kicked out of you in a good
and then feel
in a
great.
good way.
And
in
then,
a good way.
And then you
if
feel
you like deep tissue massage.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I like the idea that you're trudging home from the subway.
Yes.
You have a tote bag in
Exactly.
each hand, and suddenly your laptop is feeling very heavy.
Yep.
And you see that
Precisely.
the siren call of tui na, and you know that someone is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And then you'll
And
have
then you'll be
energy,
happy.
and then you'll be happy, and
Yeah.
then you can make dinner.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes
For your
we'll be
teenagers.
home. We'll be home. Like I'll be making dinner, and it'll be like 7, and my husband will go. We'll be complaining as people our age do. This hurts. That hurts, and he'll say, "I'm going down the hill to the Chinese lady," and he'll go. And by the time dinner's ready, he's back, and he's revived.
He's a better version.
He's a better version
of himself. Okay, so this is important, people. Tui na, Tuina.
Yeah, basically the little Chinese massage places in your neighborhood. Just go with,
just try them.
Try it.
What Al is saying is,
Give it a try.
Give it a try. Exactly. I think I will. Next is something very dear to me. In fact, your whole list is actually very dear to me, Al, because I agree. I mean, not with 1 and 2, but 3, 4, and 5. I'm all in.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3, reading the New York Times, but
Oh yeah, on paper.
on paper.
Yeah, I'm really. It's just. It is. It is crucial to my daily existence. I cannot read the newspaper online. I can't figure out how anybody reads it online. My day is. I mean, I think for many writers, the only way you kind of ever get anything done is to live with routine.
Yes.
Right? You just have to, because otherwise you'll never get any work done. So my life is
Also true,
Right.
that I often get no work done.
well, that's true. So
Yeah.
I'm fighting against. If there's any chance, we try to get up in the morning and
Right.
stick with the routine, so we might actually make it to the desk. And
Exactly.
the first part of my day, in fact, it's a race to the front door between my husband and me, who's going to get the paper, the actual paper, because whoever gets there first gets the front section. And reading the New York Times every morning and reading it on paper is just kind of the only way I can start my day.
You make a great point, and we're going to post your list on the blog at lisabirnbach.com. But when you have the paper version,
Yeah.
you also understand the importance of a certain story, because online they're all the same.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, it's so interesting to me. I've actually thought I have a lot of friends who work at the New York Times, and I would like to ask an editor there, like, walk me through the process of the way, because it's very intentional. The paper is created, it's curated every day in a very intentional way by the editors. And those editors are obviously different than the digital editors. I don't know what the digital editors are doing. Their brains don't work like mine. They're probably a lot younger than
They're
me.
11.
They're 11. But I don't, when I open it online, I'm like, what's the story today?
Well, you know what's really cool? I was able to sit in a page 1 meeting.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have them every day, of course.
Right, sure.
And they actually have guests. And a friend let me, propose that I sit in on one.
Oh, neat.
And you do see, and if any of you love the movie All the President's Men
Yeah.
as much as I did,
Yeah.
it's the same
Right.
idea. Politics, what do you got?
Right,
Sports,
right,
what do
right.
you got? Culture, what do you got? And you see the give and take and the negotiation
Right.
between what's page 1 worthy
Right.
and what isn't. But also, as you probably know, it turns out that the Times is removing bylines online.
Yes.
How can that be?
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
Well, the whole thing seems wrong to me.
Here's what's good, I will say, because I subscribe to the
except for the video component.
The
right?
video component is good, which I never use, but I appreciate that it exists. The crossword puzzle is more fun online
Oh, really?
because you can get a clue.
Oh.
Um,
It's like my Scrabble online. I play Scrabble on my phone, and you can actually just play the best word.
Yeah.
If you give up, it'll play it for you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Times will give you a clue, but online. But the paper itself, you can clip it.
Yeah.
I clip it for recipes.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
I like to know if you want to find a story again, you know exactly was it on the right or left side.
Yeah. If you're visual, which I am, but also I really, and I think part of it is that my brain was trained on that paper, and so it's expecting the same pathways, like a rat and like I'm expecting that the most important story is going to be on the right side, and that the next
above the fold,
and that the next most important story is going to be next to it, and that there's something that will alleviate the sort of intensity of that news down below the fold.
Yeah.
And there are all sorts of stories that I love to read in the paper that I find on page A11 that I can't find in the digital version.
How about the obituaries?
Oh, I never see them. You would never see them.
You don't see them.
Yeah.
And those obituaries are some of the best writing in the paper.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that one.
Good.
Number 4.
Yes.
Is it Edith Wharton?
Sure.
Par chance, or is it Gummy Bears par
Oh,
chance?
no. We're Gummy Bears. Gummy Bears gets an asterisk.
Okay.
I do love Gummy Bears,
Okay.
but really, let's just be real. Like
Okay.
Edith Wharton or Gummy Bears. I can't.
Right.
The gods
Right.
will not forgive me.
That's true. Have your seltzer, but do not give up on Edith.
No.
Okay, what is your favorite Edith Wharton?
Well, I want to confess that I have a problem, and it's an embarrassing problem for a writer, which is that I cannot remember anything I've ever read after I've read it. Like, I don't know what my brain is made of, but things don't, like, there's no sticky part for movies, books.
Because you didn't drink water.
I think that's true. I think there's a part that the little folds atrophied, the folds where the long-term literature, whatever that's called.
Whatever that's called.
Hippocampus back there, whatever it's called.
Your amygdala is dry.
Yeah, that's probably true too. So I want to say that I'm like an idiot savant without the savant part, but I can read the same book. I swear, I just finished reading The Custom of the Country, which is fabulous.
I think that would be my very favorite.
Okay, I think I've probably read it before.
Yeah,
but
have.
I didn't know because I can't remember anything.
Well, The Custom of the Country
it is a great book.
Has possibly the most contemporary horrible heroine.
I know, and I think this needs to be. I went immediately and looked to see whether anyone was working on a screenplay. Apparently, there's one that, but I think it didn't get any traction. I think Scarlett Johansson was attached.
Oh,
but this was years ago, and I don't know what
Interesting
happened to the
choice.
project. But I want to revive it because it is so contemporary. I mean, and also Undine Spragg.
Undine Spragg is
the best. Right?
Yes, I was once asked to lead a book club on it with the New York Times. Look how we're talking about the Times. Synchronicity.
The Times should be sponsoring this.
Yeah, what
episode,
the hell?
Don't you think?
I
This is
think
like
so.
The fourth time we've brought them up.
At least, and all lovingly.
Yeah.
They're New York Times book club with Ginnia Belafonte.
Yeah.
So we did The Custom of the Country, and it was sort of a live digital experience with wine. And it was great. But Undine Spragg, who is the most social climber of all literature,
exactly,
just wants to go higher and higher and higher in New York society. And Edith Wharton, who won the Pulitzer Prize in, I think, 1937, or maybe she died.
I don't think it was that late.
Maybe she died in 1920.
I think she won it for The Age of Innocence, right?
Right, I think
First
so.
woman to
ever win it. Yeah. An incredible writer, an incredible storyteller, and her version of New York
Yeah.
is always the first character in her writing.
Yes. It is so New York centric.
She, her maiden name was Jones, and the expression "keeping up with the Joneses" was coined about her family because
so
they were
cool.
a well-to-do family.
I knew that it was about a family, but I didn't realize it was her family. That's a great little piece of trivia.
Yeah, it was her family, and I think their mansion was on 23rd Street.
Yeah.
And if you
have you been to the Mount?
Yes.
Yeah.
In Lenox, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's really fun. I did a reading there. That's
you
great,
did?
Yeah.
Lucky.
I know. It was really cool.
I love it. I went there. The Mount is the home she had and built and cared deeply about in the Berkshires, and it's open for tours, and it's open. They have music and concerts and readings and theater. I think there's a Shakespeare company that performs on the grounds, and there's a beautiful art collection.
And in beautiful gardens. Yeah, it's a really cool place.
It's a really cool place. And you can walk into her bedroom and see her notebooks, and it's just unbelievable that
it's really cool.
That she's still there in the room, in the place. Yeah. What a great writer. If this conversation is scaring you, and I know it could because it sounds like something schoolish or bookish or hard, there's a 12-page story that you can read called Roman Fever, which you may have read.
I don't think I've ever read Roman Fever.
12 pages. It is a short story. I so see it as a little movie.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to go home and read it.
With like Joanne Woodward and and then and who else? Maybe
who are we going to cast now, though?
Yeah. Well, Ellen Burstyn and
I don't know.
Question.
I don't know the story. I have to go home and read it, and we can talk about it.
Two women from New York who are accompanying their daughters to Europe to meet an appropriate spouse or to be on the grand tour and have their daughters sort of, I don't know, groomed.
Yeah.
Sophisticated, polished.
Right.
And they're talking on a balcony at their hotel while their daughters are out. And a surprise happens. It's so good.
But by the
12
way,
pages.
Also, and then after those 12 pages, that if that doesn't hook you, or if you don't, I would just say, I mean, I totally get it. I get that the sort of turn of the century novels, all of the old American, they can seem like daunting, but Edith Wharton is just like juicy and fun, and like her sort of ability to capture character and to skewer people. It's just the best. I mean, it's sort of like the best HBO series long before HBO.
Yes, exactly.
So don't be frightened.
Right.
Go, rush to
It's just like Girls.
Yeah.
Not. The other thing is that I was on a real tear of hers, well, all my adult life, and there's a book called Twilight Sleep that was released probably after she died. It's a book about taking drugs when women are disappointed or in despair.
Oh, yeah, right.
How modern.
Right.
And she's all about divorce.
Right. All of her characters keep tossing off men and moving on to the next. It's good stuff. It's good. It's good stuff.
You've sold me.
Well, you didn't need selling.
No,
but hopefully
I didn't.
we've helped the Wharton estate
just
a little bit.
Just a little bit. And number 5 is your beloved Shortcake.
Shortcake, Shorty. Yeah, we have this hilariously cute, like ridiculous. And I've had dogs all my life, so I'm actually something of an expert, and I'm totally. We have 2 dogs, in fact, and I'm sad to say I would not say this about our other dog, but this dog we rescued.
I hope he's not listening.
No, she's used to it.
Oh.
Shorty is a pit bull basset hound mix.
I'm looking at him.
So you just have to picture the head of a pit bull and the legs of a basset hound, and she's only a foot off the ground.
But she's all head.
She's all especially in that photograph. Oh. She's got a kind of a basset hound length body. She's just like the cutest thing. She's like all wrong. She's like a Frankendog. Everything's put together wrong, but it's like the best kind of cartoon drawing of a dog, but come to life. life. And people freak out when they see her. They stop on the street and they're like, I'm sorry, I have to spend
a picture.
time with you. They take pictures of her. They pose with her because she's so insanely cute. And we're totally obsessed with her. We're weird. We like talk through her. I have 2 kids. They're like they've moved down the food chain. The dog is like front and center in our lives, and I do just adore her. It's ridiculous. Anyway, that's
So do people say, I think Shorty would like it if we watched Showtime tonight?
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yes, and when we're mad at each other, we kind of fight through the dog. And when I want like my husband to take the dog for a walk, I'll look at Shorty and say, "Are you wanting to take a walk right now while I'm cooking dinner?"
And it works.
And it works.
Oh, that's so great. And he can walk her to the Chinese lady down the hill.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right. Maybe we'll get her a massage.
Or a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I get it. First of all, I'm looking at Shorty, and she's very adorable. And secondly, dogs are
They're just
love.
the best. They are the best.
Is she a good dog, too?
She is. She's a squirrel and cat killer.
Ah, well,
So she can't be left alone with squirrels and cats, but she's
neither can I.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about either of them either. But she is otherwise a ideal, fantastic, snuggly, adorable thing.
Well, I get it. That is a great list, Al.
Yeah.
And it's been a real treat talking to you.
Thank you. It's been a total pleasure.
And we'll have to do it again.
I'd love it.
Okay. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Lisa.
And now I'm going to say thank you for listening. Stay warm and act natural. Bye-bye.
That was 5 Things with Lisa Birnbach. New episodes every Friday, if she remembers.